Periscope. Do what you do. God, this is such a headache. Okay, preview broadcast.
This is a snowflake-free zone.
Cheef report. The Cheef report. The Cheef report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
report. The Cheef report. The Cheef report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
report. The Cheef report. The Cheef report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
report.
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy James Cheef, and I'm back at you with the Cheef Report. And tonight, I have my homeboy, Vashawn Grissett, on the line with me. He's running for mayor of Jacksonville, Florida next year, and it's a perfect day to have him on because, as we know, the primaries in Florida are today. So let's bring Vashawn in and see what's going on with those primaries and a lot of other things that are going on in Jacksonville in particular. What's going on, Vashawn? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, Chief? How's everything going over there in Indiana?
Hot and humid, my brother. It is hot. I didn't expect a August heat wave, but this is crazy, man. Really crazy. It's hot, it's humid, but it's a great day, though. How's it down there in Jacksonville?
Oh, yes. Hey, man, we actually got a little rain today, man. We've been getting a lot of that lately. It's actually the weather seems like it's starting to want to cool off a little bit, but we'll see.
You guys you get rain at least once a day down there, don't you? Isn't that like a thing in Florida?
Oh, it seems like it.
So what's going on with those primaries, my brother? Who's winning? Who's losing? What do we need to know?
Well, right now, the Democratic race is still pretty tight, but it looks like big money Andrew Gillum is Ron DeSantis is gonna. He is a true conservative. I did get a chance to meet him and I messaged. So and he's pulled off the GOP gubernatorial primary win. So that's going to be a big win for Florida. And now it's on to we'll probably be seeing those two guys really headline for the governor race here. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
So who was your main pick? Who did you want to see win for the Senate seat and the gubernatorial seat as far as Republican?
Well, to be completely honest, I haven't been following the race. I've just had so much going on. I've really been following the governor race more closely, but I haven't really been paying attention to that Senate seat, to be completely honest with you. But I'm not a big fan of Rick Scott. I will tell you that. For some reason, to me, he seems more so a little bit of a establishment Republican to me. So I'm not a big fan of Rick Scott. I will say that.
I know Matt Gaetz, his race has been something people were talking about today, and last I heard, he was behind. What do you know about that race?
Matt Gaetz, I am not sure on that race either. To be honest with you, like I said, man, I have not been. I haven't seen all of it yet. I have been kind of peeping it here and there, but I have not got a full glimpse of everything going on just yet. With everything just finishing up here.
Yeah, because you guys have enough to deal with down in Jacksonville right now. You had the high school shooting, and then after that, you had the shooting with the Madden gaming event where the guy lost and committed the shooting. What do you know about the specifics of that in particular? We'll start with the Madden shooting. What do you know about that?
Well, the Madden shooting, like I said, man, I've been following that one pretty closely, but it's very peculiar because a lot of the details seem to have changed over and over as the story becomes more reported. So I'm just really curious to see, and I was thinking that this would happen, but the Jacksonville landing, the place that happened at downtown Jacksonville, they are looking to try to get it closed. A big dispute between the city and the owners of that building. So I kind of figure, they would use this as an excuse to try to make that happen, which of course has been done. But as far as the information regarding the shooting itself, like I said, man, there's a lot of different moving parts here, man. I would like to know more details about, this guy wasn't from Jacksonville. He was from Baltimore. So I would like to know whether he drove down or flew in, because then that will leave a lot of questions about the gun and whose gun it was, how it was acquired. And then, of course, they're still, they're saying that it was retaliation over a video game loss. But, there's usually a little bit more to the story. And to be honest, I haven't heard too much more to the story. I heard that certain gamers were targeted. So I don't know if this is something that has, and obviously guys have played together before, because they're some of the top Madden players in the nation. So these aren't guys originally from Jacksonville, a lot of them. So, or I think most of the guys who are really competing in the tournament anyways. But it's interesting to see how the story kind of evolved and turned into what it is.
Yeah, because I noticed when I was watching the news yesterday, I saw about 3 different pictures of what they were saying, of who they were saying the shooter was. And that confused me. So do they even know who the shooter is at this point?
I would like to say that the picture they've been floating is the killer, but obviously, you know how these things go. We don't really get the full story being from the outside looking in. So I can tell you that I know our police unit, our JSO force, is taking it seriously. I know that our city officials are taking it seriously. But like I said, man, you just never know. Like I said, they said the killer he left and went and killed himself around the corner from where the shooting happened. And it's a lot of moving parts there too. So, like I said, man, I was confused because I saw 2 different killers within 1 or 2 minutes. So I was really confused here.
Yeah. So what is it about this building that you say that they're trying to use that shooting in order to shut it down? Is it in a bad neighborhood? Have there been other shootings there? What is it about this particular building that they want to close it, and they may use this shooting as a reason for doing so?
Well, this particular building, I don't think there is really anything to it. It needs to be revitalized because it's right in downtown Jacksonville. And I will tell you, downtown Jacksonville is not the nicest area, not the nicest part of Jacksonville, if you've ever been to Jacksonville. However, it's a result of a lot of different things that we can really dig in on and fix. However, it just seems like that nothing's being done down there, and it's a beautiful area right on the river, right on the St. Johns River. And right now, what's going on is there's a dispute between the landowner and the city because they own the building, but the city owns the land, and they want to rebuild it. They've even come up with different proposals on what they do and how they use it, and for whatever reason, the city just keeps saying no, they're not going to fund it. So because it has to be agreed on between the 2 entities, because the city owns the land, so they can't do any rebuilding on it and without the city's approval. So it's a real conflict of interest, and I just feel like I feel like the shooting has been politicized the entire time anyways, man, when really the attention needs to go onto why is this happening, for one, and number 2, the families that are involved, man, and that includes the family of the shooter and the family of the injured. We really need to, spend some time focusing on that aspect of it instead of making everything political all the time, man. I mean, we really have to change that.
Yeah, you're right, because there was a shooting at a high school football game the Friday prior to the Madden shooting, And this didn't get any national media attention. Not that every shooting should, but it's just strange that you had a shooting Friday at a high school, media doesn't pick up on it, and then come, what was it, Sunday, that the Madden shooting happened? Then they're talking about this shooting, and they're giving it so much coverage. And it just makes me wonder, what is the criteria that's used to decide what stories become national and which ones don't?
And that is very interesting to me because, like I said, man, this shooting at this high school football game, there were 50 officers apparently there. This is one of the biggest football games that didn't even do this. And to be honest with you, the thing is, there was a high level of security there because there have been shootings at this game. Well, not necessarily shootings, but there have been, I guess you could say shootings the past 3 years of this game. So they already knew what to expect. And in this time, man, it's especially hurtful because you have so many young families being involved. The shooter being 16 years old. Two of the deceased victim was 19, and the other two that were hit by the gunshots were 18 and 17.
Wow!
Like this is our youth.
Were they
here,
students?
And,
were they students of the school or either of the schools, or were they dropouts that just went to the game?
Well, two of them were students of one of the schools playing. The 19-year-old who got killed, obviously, I won't say obviously, but he was a graduate. And the 16-year-old who did the shooting was a student at an alternative school here in Jacksonville called Grand Park. So it was a lot of different parts. They say it was, gang related, street crime related, but there's obviously, like I said, there's more to that story. And I just think we have to stop. Every time something happens, we want to go throw out street gangs and gang members and this and that, when really we are not getting to the root cause of why these things are happening, why our youth we have a 16-year-old that was willing to open fire, and killed the guy and injured two other young people. Like, this is unacceptable. We have to get to the bottom of this. We have to do something about this.
Yeah, because if that had happened at a Chicago school, I feel safe in saying that the media would have been all over it. And here it is. It happens at a Jacksonville school. You never hear anything about the shootings happening in other inner cities. And I know Jacksonville is a place that has its fair amount of shootings, correct?
That is correct. And the biggest problem is, see, a lot of people, we had people pointing a finger at at JSO. And don't get me wrong, JSO has our sheriff's office. They have their deficiencies too. They have their areas they need to work on too. And I respect our men and women who, fight hard to protect our streets because they have a very tough job to do here in Jacksonville. But you can't keep pointing the finger at outside sources when, you see what's actually happening. You have to address the issues at its root cause. And I think you're correct with saying that, yeah, in Chicago, I think this would have seen national attention, but because it's Jacksonville, Florida, and we are a Republican run city right now, we're not going to get that type of attention in the national media when we're having kids being shot at high school football games. And I just think that's something that needs to change. We use all of these different things that are happening for political reasons and for political arguments to say that these people aren't doing this, or this side isn't doing this, or the left is doing this. And look at the right and violence in Chicago. And we don't ever really stop to take a second and realize that nobody is really doing anything about this. Nobody is to get their claws into this and get to these root issues and see why this is going on. And that's what we need to do. It's crazy how much.
When we talk about Chicago on the right, all we do is say, oh, well, the left isn't doing anything. And I'm always standing there like, well, what are we doing on the right? Because, again, the issues that cause these problems aren't being solved. They're not even being addressed. And it's not just the city of Chicago. And it really bothers me that on Friday you have a school shooting in an inner city, well, an inner a ghetto area of Jacksonville. I'm just gonna be real. You have a shooting in the ghetto area of Jacksonville at a high school, no attention, but then you have the Madden tournament and the media's all over it. And I have to ask myself, could that be a product of this whole NFL flag situation? Because after all, it was a Madden football tournament. But either way, why does one shooting get attention and the other doesn't? And does it surprise you that the Madden shooting hasn't been politicized either? You haven't heard the left say anything about gun control. At least I haven't. Maybe they are at Jacksonville.
I have heard the others here in Jacksonville, and and then it did come up on the campaign trail shortly after that for some of the different people running here in Jacksonville. So it has been politicized to an extent, which like I said, don't care for at all. But I do think it is. I think the narrative is a little bit different because of who the shooter is, how it happened. So I'm not sure exactly why they did this particular event this way, and it really did seem like it would get more national attention. And I honestly, I didn't say it, but I kind of thought it would get the gun control talk, but it didn't, which was a little bit weird to me. Well, as far even on the national level. Like I said, I did hear about it here in Jacksonville. See, and like the thing is, I see a lot of people that really are starting to get behind and thinking that assault type guns are the problem, and that's just not the case.
Yeah, because the shooting at the Madden tournament was done with a handgun. If I'm not mistaken, I think I heard it was a .40 caliber handgun. And that's why I thought that the left would really come out screaming gun control, because this happened without an assault rifle. But let's get into, okay, let's start with was there any difference in reporting in Jacksonville media as far as those two episodes? Did they cover one more than the other, or did they not cover one and cover the other?
Course,
I think.
Well, they talked about the high school shooting for a little bit afterwards. The next day, most people kind of forgot about it, and then the landing shooting that on that Sunday, it's been people have been kind of talking about that since. So it did get a little bit more coverage. Which, like I said, man, I don't really think the landing shooting was more so an issue for Jacksonville that we really could control. Because, like I said, this was a national event. These people, none of the participants were from Jacksonville. This is just where the event was. This could have possibly happened anywhere. Now, this is a direct result of what's been happening in Jacksonville on a continuous basis. This is a direct result of, what's happening in our communities, in our schools. We have the most violent schools in Florida, and this is a result of that. We have a lot we need to work on here. And like I said, until these kind of things get the national attention that they need to get, we really need to do our part in the community. Like I've been telling everybody, you be the change and see the change. Do your part, and you'll start to see the change you want to see.
I'm glad that you brought up the issues. What are the issues that you feel are causing Jacksonville youth to be so violent?
Well, see, and that's the thing. This is high school shooting. I've seen a lot of people that blame the parenting, friends more. I've seen people who even blame video games and different things. But the truth is, it's really a combination of a lot of things, man. And I think the biggest thing is just so you can probably agree and attest to this. And as a young black male, because obviously that's where a lot of the shootings are coming from, is the young black males in the community. Let's be real about it. You kind of grow up in an environment where you feel like no one cares about you. You feel like at home, no one cares about you because they don't discipline you. They don't ever create any structure for you. They don't ever really go out of their way to try to put things in place and get you on that right path. You feel like nobody cares about you at school because they let you roam the hallways, talk any kind of way, do what you got to do, and whatever. So you feel like nobody cares. So when you start to feel like nobody, guess what you start to feel? You start to feel like you don't care about the world, and it's just us. And the more generations we kind of teach that to, the more and more it happens. That's why they don't care about they're having children, different things. A lot of these young don't care. It's a combination thing. So, and we see every day that in the police, in the media, that the police show that they don't care. All these different people that they see that don't care. So one of the things we have to do is we have to show them we care. We have to talk to them. We have to communicate with them. Instead of looking the other way when you look down the street, look directly at them and speak. Acknowledge them.
Yeah, common courtesy.
Give them a common courtesy, man. It was these two young brothers at the park, crazy hairstyles, out there. I see they got their little cannabis sitting right there on the picnic table, just in the blunt package. So, but I'm up there with my team having football practice, and I walk by them and I speak, "Hey, how y'all young men doing today?" And, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" He's like, "Y'all got any extra water? We out here at the park. Our little sisters out here. Y'all, man, come on over and get some water."
But just
come
by
on over and get
the
some
way
water.
that some of the details of that story, people will look and say, "Well, there's the problem." You got these two guys that are there because they're sisters or whatever at the park, and they're rolling up weed when they're supposed to be watching their sisters and enjoying the extracurricular activities of being social. So my point in bringing that up is, how much of a problem do drugs in the inner city play in the problems that not only Jacksonville has, but other inner cities?
Of course, drugs a big, like I said, even more so than the drugs. Like, I just wanted to, just to speak to them, just to let them know that, hey, naturally. Look, yeah. But as far as but drugs, of course, play a major part in the downfall of the community, because, like I said, man, you get so caught up on, and I think it's like an entire system, man, because that drug system kind of hits in a few different ways. Of course, it hits when you have users, it hits when you have sellers, and it also hits when you are friends or associates of these users and sellers. So the entire drug system, plays a major role in the downfall of the Black community and the Black population in America. Like I said, man, and then not to mention the drug-related crime that happens, which significantly increases the crime rate. So I would like to, I do think we need to, and the thing is, all right, so, and then the drugs, the use, most people are looking as a way to fight their depression. We have to teach them healthier and better alternatives. And that's who, man, is I'm going to speak to kids. I'm teaching them to, what is it?
No, I was saying, because when it comes to the drug problems in this country, it's funny because it's not even just drugs in the inner city that aren't being addressed. If you look at the heroin and fentanyl epidemic that we're facing right now, the majority of that is in the suburbs, upper middle class even. And I'm not saying that heroin and fentanyl does not exist in the inner city, but it's not as impactful. And it's a drug that people don't seem to want to address and say, look, we need to stop this. So it seems like drugs are at the root of a lot of the problems in the country. But let's get off of drugs and talk about the employment situation in Jacksonville. Do they have apprenticeship programs now that more jobs are available for the young men and women that may not have had the training thus far that they need to qualify for decent jobs? Are there apprenticeship programs?
Go ahead. Let's say there are very few apprenticeship programs, man. There are very few vocational programs, man. We used to even have a skill center on our west side of Jacksonville. We still have one skill center school, but I'm sure that the programs there have even been stifled. So that's something that we have to get back to. We have to increase the workforce. We have a big sector of service industry jobs that we just can't seem to fill because we don't have qualified workers, and vocational schools, vocational programs for those people, because a lot of people don't realize the service industries are the second highest paying job industry behind the healthcare field. And the thing is, you can get certified for a lot of these jobs in a year or two. I would even like to see to where high school students can take vocational programs starting at the age of 16 in school with a certification in a program and be able to start a decent paying job right out of high school if they don't think college is the right option for them. So I just think we have to start opening up some different alternatives. I think that'll really, and the thing about it is, I don't want vocational schools and programs to be available just to kids. I want them to be available to adults too, who can, and anyone on welfare, any assistance, anyone that's able-bodied and can work, you can go to learn a skill, something that you're gonna be able to use for the rest of your life to be able to find, you'll be able to go do this, and I think that definitely needs to be increased.
Without a doubt. Now, with all the talk about the NFL and everything that's going on, Jacksonville has a team. And we've been talking about how it's one of the most violent cities in the nation as far as the shootings and other crimes. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars active within the community?
They do some different things, some camps here and there. And Blake Bortles actually did a really nice gesture, sending the first responders down at the Jacksonville landing, sending them food and things of that nature. So they man, and but I would like to see an increased amount of community efforts from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think just their presence could do so much more so than financial things. I think just their presence and getting out in the community, talking to people, and really trying to make this city. I mean, I think we have a very, very beautiful city, man. It has the amount of potential of any great city in this country, and plus we have a beach and a beautiful river, and we have property on both waterfronts, man. We have a lot of potential here, and I think it's going to take all parties involved, including some of those to really get this thing on the right track.
Now,
so I would like to see them do more involved, maybe do more to schools, a little bit more encouraging, be a little bit more involved.
When we see all the things that we do concerning the kneeling players in the NFL, and they say that they're doing it because of oppression to black people and basically the state of the ghetto. Do you feel disappointed when you live in a city with an NFL team and you don't see them as active as you feel they should be in the community of Jacksonville?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that for me?
I was asking, with everything we hear about the NFL players that kneel, they say at this point it's because of the oppression of black people. So by you living in a city with an NFL team, are you disappointed that you don't see them more active in Jacksonville, and in particular in the black communities in Jacksonville? Does that disappoint you that they say they're kneeling due to oppression of black people, but they're not as active as you feel they should be?
I mean, my biggest whole, and you kneel to bring attention, and then you have the attention. Now, what, just keep kneeling? That makes zero sense to me. You have, you've gotten to that point, y'all. You kneel, you've got the attention. Now it's time to go do something. You know, I saw a couple of teams do some stuff. I saw the Cleveland Browns, I want to say, went on a ride along with the police department, things like that, just to get a better understanding of their day-to-day life. You know, more players should be doing things like that, you know, instead of always wanting to say, okay, well, they're doing this or they're doing this. Go spend some time with them. Start a line. That's how we overcome our arguments. Start a line of communication. Get involved, man. We have the sheriff here, my semi-pro football team. You know, so there's a football connection there. So I'm sure, you know, if some of the Jaguars players reached out, he'd probably love to let him go, for a ride or two to see what the day of a Jacksonville sheriff's officer employee is like.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, you know. Yeah, exactly. Go for a ride. Just go and learn. Get some understanding. You know, there can't be any understanding without communication.
What type of extracurricular activities are in Jacksonville for the youth? You know, are there boys and girls clubs? Is there year-round sports, Little League, Biddy Ball, Pop Warner football? Are there arts and crafts opportunities there for the youth in Jacksonville? What do they have to do besides what they're doing at this point?
Well, I mean, we do have sports programs. We do have year-round sports, so we do a good job of keeping them into sports and doing other things. But you know, at this point, you know, what's starting to happen is a lot of the guys, you know, they don't have the grades. Once you get a little bit older, you know, you don't have the grades to play sports, and you kind of venturing off, you know, and doing other things. So, you know,
you mentioned grades.
Right now,
what's the education like in Jacksonville?
Right now, the education system is showing some improvement. We went from 16 F schools to just 2. But I think we've talked about this on here a little bit before. You know, I like to really, you know, get some understanding on how that happens at such a fast pace at one time. You know, because like I said, I know some of these schools and some of these students.
Didn't that happen in 1 year?
Yeah, that was 1 year. So, you know, but I would like to really, I used to actually be a tutor. I used to be a tutor for 3rd grade students who were getting ready to take our standardized FCAT. And you really start to get some insight on what some children's challenges are. Like even myself, I have a 6th grader, and his handwriting, we have to practice handwriting every day. And it's like, man, I remember handwriting was just a skill you practiced on so much when we were younger, because it's important to be able, so that way, you know, you can sign documents or write a paper or a paragraph or whatever, a statement. Who knows what you need to write, but you know, you want to be able to write legibly, and it's something we have to work on every day as a 6th grader. You know, and also reading comprehension. I started to notice that a lot of these children, they don't know how to put into words the things that they are reading. So it's starting, you know, and you have to start that early. You start reading comprehension early.
Yeah, and that's not just the children. I mean, there are a lot of adults that you're like, how did you take what I said that way? So how is it that in 1 year, it went from, what did you say, 16 F schools down to 2?
Yes.
How did you guys create that impact in 1 year? What did Jacksonville schools do to create that type of positive result?
To be completely honest with you, that I'm not sure. You know, and the thing is, I've been looking for that answer, you know, to see what they did differently, but I just can't find it. I'm listen, and I'm not accusing our school system of just passing schools through the system to passing students through the system just to keep them going higher and higher. But you know, I would like to know what they did differently in order to go from 16 F schools to 2 F schools. And listen, I know our teachers work very hard. And listen, I know several teachers. You know, we have a lot of people in our school system that work very hard, you know. However, like I said, man, we have so many young adults here, you know, that you just know they haven't been afforded a proper education, spell properly, they can't speak properly.
it sounds like what you're saying is it seems like they could have made this positive impact in the first place, because I can't see anything that they did different to garner the results. It seems like that's what you're saying.
Well, I think that they could have they could have done it a long time ago, but I remember coming up through this school system. I remember coming up through this Duval County public school system, and even then the system was broken, and
When you say
and
broken,
don't get me
what do you mean?
we ran amok. We were problem children, and we were problem children. Like, the school had we ran the school.
And that's probably the same nowadays, don't you think? Not just in Jacksonville, but in all of the cities that we're talking about, because I know it was like that somewhat when I was going to school. But there were a chosen few that could do what they want, as if the school had literally given up on certain students and were more interested in them doing things to where they could expel them from the school instead of, rehab these kids and get their minds right. Does that go on in Jacksonville schools?
Oh, I'm sure, I'm sure. And, but at this point, they're not really expelling a lot of students. They're just, they'll suspend them, send them home. And, because that's what it was with me, because it was like, man, I get suspended from school. It's a 3-day vacation. I'm just out of school for a few days. Yeah. I was like, okay, I can deal with this every once in a while. Just, get into a fight or something or whatever happens, boom, I'm home for 3 days. So it was, it didn't create.
So what was it that made you change your mind and become a productive citizen?
It was a combination of things. I have a 10-year-old son, and when he was born, of course, I had to be a role model and really step up. But what really kind of changed me was getting involved in sports. Honestly, I missed my sophomore year playing football. And after becoming a starter, I was gonna be a starter going into my sophomore year, and I didn't make the grades to play. Because I was, still trying to run the school. I ended up graduating with a 2.9 GPA, getting back on the football team that spring of my sophomore year, and stop taking it off for granted. So, and don't get me wrong, now I did have some. So I will say this: I did get some special. I did grades by some teachers, ball player. So that happens. I know it happens because it happened for me. Yeah. Some players out here might think I'm dry snitching, but hey, it happened.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen everywhere, not just to you or in Jacksonville. So before we get out of here, talk to the people about your campaign. What's going on with that? How is it looking? And have the latest developments in Jacksonville made you kind of consider new ways to take your campaign, new directions to take your campaign, or in particular, rethink some of the directions you wanted to take your campaign?
Well, being violent crime was already it really didn't reiterated everything that I wanted to do and everything I believe in, because I believe it takes a conscious, concerted effort from every single citizen in this city in order to make change. And I know that's not realistic, but I think we do have enough people who really want to impact change in the city and can really get it done. So, but I have started working on putting together a neighborhood action committee. And what we plan to do with that is, start to come up with programs and projects, things that we can start to implement right now. And then, start working on more long-term goals as well. So, I have probably about 10 or 12 people interested in doing that program with me. So I'm really going to just get out here. And like I said, we're going to start communicating with the youth. I'm also getting involved in a mentoring program where I'm going to be mentoring the youth. I'm speaking at an event on September 8th, just doing a little motivational speaking for the youth once again. Like I said, it's just really spending time. It's really getting to know and really getting to to let people know that, you know, you can overcome any obstacle, man. The campaign itself, though, is going very well, man. I received much more positive feedback than I ever thought I would when I went live with my campaign. I've been running it mostly through my Facebook page, which is just my name, Vashawn Grissett. And Cheef, don't be mad at me, bro. I just kind of I didn't notice earlier, but my last name does not have an E at the end. But we're not. Hey, listen, it's all good. But because that's where most of my local audience is really on my Facebook page. So I've been communicating a lot directly with them through that.
We got it now.
Oh, see, boom! Hey, look, there you go.
Hey, I do it all. That's why I keep looking down and around. I'm a one man show over here. Live edits, producing, engineering, and performance. So we got you.
Listen, though. I know, man. You're doing a fantastic job of it all.
Appreciate it.
So, but yeah, man, to be honest, man, like I really honestly thought, because you know I'm a young man. You know, obviously, I'm a pretty popular guy within the city of Jacksonville. So I did know that people would kind of seriously, you know, and I really thought more people, you know, I'm sure there are still some that do, and I'm sure there are still some who think I'm crazy, but for the most part, man, I'm really receiving a lot of positive feedback, a lot of positive reinforcement, letting me know that I'm doing the right things in order to, you know, really create change, man. Like I said, man, I think, and this kind of just happened. I think I'm gonna roll with this whole "be the change, see the change" as my campaign slogan, man, because you have to really do it, man. It's gonna take, man, it's gonna take a lot.
So, how intimidated are you now that you're literally on the ballot, there's no turning back, and you're starting to meet with more politicians, some of which that have been in the game for a long time? What's the intimidation factor like, or are you cool? You know, you got this.
Man, you know what? I'm a lot more confident than I ever thought I would be. You know, like I said, man, around me, I have, like I said, a lot of positive reinforcement. I have a lot of people in the city that really want to see this happen, man. I have people that, man, the one thing, I had one guy come out and say to me, he said, man, I've never voted before in my life, but I'm going to come out and vote for you for mayor. And I'm going to tell you, just that one person, man, that's what I was going for, man. I want people who haven't cared about politics, haven't cared to come out to vote. I want them to come out to vote. I want them to be interested in what's going on, especially in to be honest with you, the only reason I haven't really been following that Senate race too tough is because I've been preaching the message local and state politics, man. We've been talking about our attorney generals, we got district circuit court judges up, and I've been telling people, go research your local politicians, man. So I've been spending a lot of time researching these guys and researching these candidates, so you know we can all learn together, you know, about what's happening right here in our local politics and the things that really affect us most, you know. And I understand that, you know, the Senate race on the national level is important too. But, man, I've really been trying to, you know, tone it down here and get back to that kind of close to home mentality, that real community mentality, man. We've got to get back to that.
Yeah, and, you know, you're not running your campaign on face page because you're actually out amongst the people, grassroots level, correct?
Yes, sir. Listen, I'm using that to kind of talk to people that I'm normally don't have a chance to get in touch with. But yeah, my campaign is going to be ran 100% on the ground. You know, like I said, I'm going to use social media to the best of my abilities, but I'm running this on the ground, man. I want to, because there's no impact you can make with people like talking to them face to face. Man, I'm out meeting with people. I've been in meetings all this week, man. I've been out meeting people since Saturday morning, man. I told people, hey, look, I got on my Facebook and said, hey, look, let's start getting out and let's start organizing. Let's start getting together. Let's start talking. Let's start putting this together. Let's start, you know, doing something for this community. Let's start it right now. You know, and it's crazy because I had already given a public address at 8 p.m. on my Facebook before the high school shooting happened. And then it was just like, man, I had just talked about putting together this neighborhood action committee, and bam, now we all see the reason why we really truly need it. you know, because a lot of this stuff, I really truly believe you, and you know, you can't end all the crime, but I believe a lot of it can be diverted, man, if we, for one, like I said, communicate with these kids, communicate with these teens, communicate and start to really give them guidance and set boundaries when they're younger. And, you know, of course, as they get older, we have to give them more opportunities to go make a decent living and to have a decent life, you know, and not be stuck in that cycle of poverty where they feel like they don't have any choice to get what they need, but to do something that they don't need to do. You know what I mean? Something that's going to hurt themselves or others.
Without a doubt, brother. I'm proud of you. Because I know you've been working hard for a long time, so it's nothing new to me. And I'm just glad to see you steady making progress. You haven't been deterred. You haven't, you know, second guessed yourself, and that's the most beautiful thing about it. You're still full tilt boogie with it, man. So I commend you for it, and I know you're gonna follow through. I know you're busy, but I gotta have you back on here sometime in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully we can work that out.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. We'll make it happen, man. You just let me know when, and we'll get on and we'll chit chat, man. But man, I appreciate you having me on, man. This is always fun, man. You know I love being on the Cheef Report.
No doubt, I appreciate it. And looking at you, man, you might be a more laid back brother than me, man.
Yeah, man. I keep it very simple these days, man. I live a very simple lifestyle these days, man. And you know, I'm happy, man. I'm happy more than anything else. So,
good deal. And Vashawn will be back. I see you getting a lot of love in Periscope, and so is the Cheef Report. So definitely I see you. I watch live on Periscope while I'm on the air, and I thank all of you guys for the love and for viewing and all of the support. Believe I do see you, but I can't comment while I'm working, but I see the love, and I greatly appreciate it. So on that note, that ends this episode of the Cheef Report, and I will be back tomorrow evening at 8 Central Time with Trisha Flanagan with some great things to discuss and information and knowledge to pass on. So again, everyone have a great night, and God bless you all.
This is a snowflake-free zone.
Cheef Report. The Cheef Report. The Cheef Report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
Report. The Cheef Report. The Cheef Report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
Report. The Cheef Report. The Cheef Report.
This is a snowflake-free
Cheef
zone.
Report.
All right, did you split or you still there? Okay, I see you.
I'm still here, bro.
Oh, shit. Am I on a hot mic? I'm on a hot